Alright, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible. Am I audible and visible properly? Alright, great. We will just wait for another 1 minute so that everyone joins in, and then we can start off. Alright, let me share my screen. Great. First of all, welcome everyone to the module 2, and I really hope that you have already prepared well for the module 1 that was already done previously, right? And we've almost spent more than 10 days for batch 2 and more than a week, or approximately a week, on the module 1, that is a goal setting for the batch 1. So after spending so much of days, so much of time and so much of work for the module 1, I think and I expect that almost everything is clear, and most of you, or in fact all of you, are ready with your goals. So assuming that you have already set your goals, assuming that you have already clear about what to do, and assuming that you have created a pathway for you as per what we have discussed in module 1, with that assumption, let's move on to the next module. And as you can see on the screen, the next module is about personal branding. Alright, personal branding. Before we move on to actually personal branding, let me just give you a disclaimer that what we've planned module by module is so that you also understand it very well, and it can also help you in practically implying that in your real life, right? The reason why I'm saying that is because if, for example, some of you have not attempted the the module 1, that is goal setting, or may have not completed the assignments, that is to create your long-term and short-term goals, to create a pathway and to be clear about what to do, then if you have not done that, then this module or the further modules will not be in a sync with all of you, because everything is interlinked with each and everything. So just telling you again, if you have not done your module 1 assignment, then please go ahead and do that, and then you can join us in the module 2, that is personal branding. Alright, and as always, I want this session to be interactive. It's not a monologue. I'm not here to talk and you're not here to listen. So in order to be very interactive, jovial, and an enjoyable situation over here, I want you all to answer. Anyone who can switch on your videos or microphone can do that. Anyone who wants to talk, you can interrupt me, however, if only it's related to the session. And obviously we'll be having a Q&A session in the end of this session. Alright, one more thing that has to be cleared over here is that this module, that is module 2, is divided into 3 sessions: session 1, session 2, and session 3. And unlike the previous module, wherein you had only one session and you had multiple interactive sessions to clear your doubts or get everything cleared, but there was essentially just one session over here. But here in personal branding, we are having 3 sessions because it is a varied topic, and it expands to lengths and breadths. All right. With that, I want to know whether is everything clear for all of you. Is everyone ready to listen to everything that's going to be discussed over here in the session? Can we start, or do you have anything to ask me before we start? Hello. Can we start? All right.
Yes, we can start.
Fine. Just give me 1 moment. All right, let's get started with it. First and foremost, I want to know from all of you, what do you think is personal branding? What is personal branding in your terms? Anyone can unmute and tell me the answer. What is personal branding in your opinion? And what do you understand by the word branding or personal branding? Anyone? You can also type it down, but I would prefer if you just answer the question in the call by unmuting yourself. Anyone? Defining ourselves in front of people makes sense. What else? You have anything else? Anyone? Or else then I'll have to go with my answer because it's not being an interactive session. Alright, let me tell you what personal branding is in my opinion. Alright, personal, as you know, branding means to basically brand yourself or a product or whatever you want to brand. Basically, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a person. But personal branding, when the word personal is added to the word branding, it specifically means that it's your branding. Alright, it means that you are branding yourself. That is what is meant by personal branding in simple terms. Alright, it can be defining yourself, as Farid has said. It can be to promote yourself, it can be to market yourself, or in the best definition, it is how you showcase yourself to the world outside. Alright, once someone looks at you, he or she will set an image for you. He or she will be having an understanding built up in their mind that yes, this person is so and so person, right? Hence, whatever they perceive about yourself is what you show them, and that is personal branding. Alright, in simple Hindi language, जो आप दिखा रहे बाहर वालों को, that is what is called as a personal branding. Right, now I'll show you 3 images. I want all of you to tell me what do you see in these images, what do you incur from these images. Firstly, we have a bag, I would say. I don't know exactly what it is called, a bag or a clutch maybe. That's one picture. Then there's a picture of a cup, and then there's a picture of a human. Anybody who knows what it is and why it is so famous? Anyone? Anyone answers? Is there no one? The human pig is famous on the fish. Right. And do you know what brand that is? Or anyone who knows what that brand is? Gucci and Starbucks. Gucci, very good. It's Gary V. Yes. Great. Yes, it is Gary V. So, if you see, there's something common amongst all of these 3 things, right? The first one is a picture of a Gucci bag. The second one is a picture of a Starbucks coffee, and the third picture is of a person called as Gary V. Alright, 3 of these, the thing that they have in common is that they are a well-respected brand out in the world. If you go and tell someone that I'm owning a Gucci bag, then they will think that it's a common human mindset that they will perceive that you are of some elevated level, right? And when you see the picture of Starbucks cup, you'll definitely know that yes, this coffee is amazing, this coffee is worldwide famous, and it might be really good or not depending upon a person's taste, but that brand is really good. Thirdly, the person, the human is his name is called as Gary V, right? Most of you, I hope most of you know him, and if you do not know that, then that's okay. But Gary V is basically a mentor, coach, speaker, life coach, and multiple taglines to his name, but he has established himself as a brand. Alright, all of the entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs know who Gary V is, because Gary V himself is an entrepreneur, right? So Nobody has to actually go and search what that person is, who that person is. Once you just see the picture of a person, of a something, then you can recall that yes, this thing is so and so of so and so brand, and I know that thing. Even though if I'm not using that thing, or even if I have not seen that thing from my naked eyes any time in my life, I still know what that product, or what that person, or what that image is. Why? Because they have established themselves as a brand, right? So whenever a person sees that brand, they will know that yes, this is a well respected brand, right? So there's a difference between what community or what domain they serve in, right? Gucci deals in baggages, clothing. um, Starbucks deals in refreshments, mostly coffee. And Gary Vee is a human life coach, and he deals with something else. But the common thing that all of them share is that all of them have established themselves as a good personal brand. All right. Now, personal branding does not exactly mean what you always show to others, right? We'll be discussing about the two types of personal brand towards the later of this session. But first, let's discuss what your personal brand is, right? You are here as a trailblazer in this community to basically make a mark, to learn things, and to imply them in your life. So I want all of you to work on these 2 points right now. That firstly, who are you? I'm not asking a name, right? I want what your target audience is, what your genre is, what actually is something that you imply towards, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is that you have to understand, you have to ask yourself that whatever person I am, whatever genre am I fitting in, whatever my domain is, what could be the possible target audience, what could be the possible audience, or what could be the people who can benefit from me, right? So you have to find that niche, that specific group of people that have a direct connection with you when you establish yourself as a personal brand. All right. Now this is linked towards your goal setting thing. You have worked on your goals, you have worked on your short term and long term goals. You know what your genre is, right? What are you planning to do in these 5 years and in the next 5 years? That is your genre. So you have to write down in the next 2 minutes that firstly what your genre is, and then you have to understand, ask yourself, and write down now itself that what is that specific people, or what are those specific people who are going to directly be benefited from all of you. Understanding? Is it clear? If it's not, then you can ask me a question. If it is, then all of you take out your books and pens that we've already told you to bring, and write down firstly who are you, and secondly what are the target audience, or what is basically the group of people that can possibly benefit from you. The time starts now. I'll be giving approximately 1 minute for that to write, or maybe 1.5 minutes. Your time starts now. You have approximately 15 more seconds. And with that, we have completed our time. I hope most of you have written um, your genre, and the people that you benefit from. Because if you get it clear now itself, then it will be much easier for you to understand what we are going to discuss in the upcoming slides. All right. With that, let's move ahead. And now, you have an idea about what a personal brand is. You have an idea about what basically is going to be your target audience if you establish your own personal brand, right? But it's a human mindset that most of us go to things that we find our benefit in only, right? So most of you are students, so you might be searching for advantages of having or building a personal brand right now in your student age. But after a few years, that is maybe 3, 4, or 5 years, you will be also getting into the stage of employment. So that is going to be something that is going to be with you, or you will be in that particular stage for a very long time, because that is your employment. So the advantage you will be having in employment is basically vast, but I've listed 3 most important points here on the screen. Firstly, you have seen many people getting recruited from your campus also, but also apart from your campus. Nowadays, it's a fact, and I'm not bluffing. I've also talked to various HR, and most of them agree on this fact, that nowadays many people are getting picked up from the social media because of the brand that they have on the platforms, right? They usually, if you want to get a placement, or if you want to get a job, you'll have to go apply for that job, and then you'll be passing through some tests maybe, and then you'll be getting to the phase of getting interviewed, and then maybe you'll be getting selected or not. But nowadays, due to the onset of personal brand, many people, especially the HRs and many different companies, are keeping an eye out of the people on the social media platforms, whether how beneficial they are, or how informative, how knowledgeable they are in that particular domain. So if you establish a personal brand on the social media platforms, that can be any social media platform, people will be looking out for that. You'll be getting a larger audience, you'll be expanding your network, and hopefully you can directly be picked for a great job directly from your social media handle, just because of your personal brand that you have built on it. Firstly. Secondly, most of you know that once we get into the employment phase, we'll be working for any company, and based on agreement, we'll be getting promoted, we'll be getting bonuses, etc. So when a person has to apply for a promotion, or when a person actually gets a promotion, that is only basis on how well they have worked in that past quarter, or how well they are performing in the current quarter. But nowadays, there are many administrative people as well as HR people that are looking out for people on the performance on the social media platforms as well. Because when you work for any company, or when you work for a particular domain, it's not that you just work in the working hours, or it's not just that you work for the company. If you're getting knowledge out of it, if you are learning many new things, you can also share it on your personal brand, or on the social media platforms through your personal brand. And with that, you will not just gain more coverage, but also will be getting more information, and your network will again expand and reach. So because of that, many HR, many administrative people have been looking out for people who have built massively great personal brand on social media platforms, and because of the network that they have created over there, they are getting promoted. Why? Because everyone basically sees for the benefit, as I've told. So if you get a great network, if you expand your reach, then not just you are expanding your knowledge, but also getting in touch with many different people. And that's exactly what people want. The company people want. If you are having a great network, that will add value to the company. If you're having much more knowledge than a normal person, that is going to add value to the company. And so they will anyhow give you good promotion. So according to a fact, according to a survey, 43% of HRs and administrative people use social media to see whether the performance of their current employees is really substantial or not. That is through the personal brand, right? Finally, you have heard about this, I'm sure, because I have personally told that many times, that your network is your net worth. It implies in almost most of the situations. Why? Because more number of people you interact with, more exposure you'll be getting, and the more exposure you'll be getting, your performance in your company will be getting increased, and that will help you to build great relations with not just your colleagues but also the higher authorities, and that will set a proper success path for you in your life. Got it? So these three are the most important or most beneficial things that I've found in employment sector. However, most of you are a student right now. So all right, before we go to the student's perspective, I'll tell you this story. All right, I don't know how many of you heard about it, but this girl's name is Miss Ankita Chawla, and this article is like a very old article because I've read that very early in my life, but it is really remarkable because that still holds much value in today's generation as well. I'll tell you why. This girl, she is into UI UX. She's into graphic designing, basically, in simple words. And what she did is she created an Instagram page, all right, and she created her resume on her Instagram page. On the screen you can see the centermost image, that is her Instagram screenshot. That is a complete resume that she has built. It's not a normal resume. If I have to show you a normal resume, I'm sorry, I don't have a resume right now. Anyway, so a normal resume is like a normal A4 size document with just matter written on it that a person just basically has to read it. But what she did, something differently, something uniquely, is that she created her Instagram page based on her resume very creatively, and it's really very artistic as well. I'll tell you why. It's because she has completely given all of the information in a graphical format because she was applying for a graphic designer position, right? And people from Deloitte, the HR from Deloitte had looked over her Instagram page. They found it really unique and creative and amazing, and they had called her. She got in, I don't think she even got interviewed, I don't know, I'm not sure about that, but she directly got a job just because of her personal brand that she had built on her Instagram page. And she got a job in Deloitte. Deloitte is not a normal company. It's a really remarkable company. So she directly got a job in Deloitte just basis on her Instagram page. And what she did nothing but just create her personal brand on a social media account. So it's not like if you're a student right now, it's not going to be beneficial for you. If you are an employer right now, it's not going to be beneficial for you. It's not like that, because anything that you do for your future is going to leave some or the other mark in your life, right? So it's never late to start. So this was one example that I really wanted to give, and I really was inspired by this girl's Instagram page and her journey. But now moving on to the advantages that you will be having as a student, because most of you are students right now. So there are many advantages again, but the three most important, or the three really substantial important points are: firstly, that you will be distinctive, which means that you'll be standing apart from your other colleagues, right? For example, let's say that you are a person A and there's another person B, and both of you study in the same class, both of you get almost the same grades, and both of you basically study the same thing, do the same things, and almost be together always, right? But you have done something, you have done just one thing that is really unique, that the other person or the other friend has not done, right? And that thing is that you have worked on your personal brand and you have created your personal brand. So almost all the things in your friend is same, but he does not have his personal brand, but you have a personal brand. So that will firstly keep you ahead of your journey, and it will be keeping you apart. You'll be a unique person among all the general crowd. One reason why you have to be apart from the crowd is because, for example, let's take your example that the batch of 2025, that is most of you who are currently in your first years, your batch is of around 800 people, more or less. But my batch was just of 300 people, right? And when I compare myself to you all, I have a very less competition, whereas you have a lot more competition, because you are one person and there are 799 others competing with you. In my case, I just have one person and there are 299 others competing against me in my campus. When I go outside, there are many more people. But when you go outside, there will be many more people, because your batch and your not just in your college, your batch are from different colleges, different organizations, is more in number than what is mine, right? So you'll be getting more competition inside and outside. You should not be a part of that flock, right? People, the faculties, the teachers will be shepherding you, but you do not have to stay in that flock. You have to come out of the way, you have to do something on your own, and you have to stand apart, because you'll be getting a lot more competition 4 years from now. So if you start from now itself, then you will be ahead of your journey and you'll be standing apart. Secondly, you'll be improving your skill sets. All right, what does that actually mean? Right, if you kind of work on your personal brand right now based on your genre, based on your target audience, and based on your long-term goal, if you know what these three things are, then you will be working on those three things and you will be getting more and more skills, you will be getting more and more knowledge that you can imply now itself, and that will make you more knowledgeable than many other people. That will help you to gain more skills than many other people, right? So you can accomplish more things than many other people. Why? Because you have more skills, and you also have more knowledge. So that will help you to have more number of advantages over the other people, right? Then thirdly, and I think that's equally important, because as I said, you'll be having a lot more competition now and also outside in the world when you'll be graduating. So in order to not be among the flock, you have to be somewhere ahead of the flock. You have to go and grab the opportunity that is going to come towards all of you at the first place. Because if 800 people go and fight for one position, it's going to be a very tough fight. But when you are ahead of the journey, you will be the only one person who will be going and grasping that opportunity. You will be not getting a competition, and you will be getting more benefits, right? That will all happen only because you start now and start today on building your personal brand, because it's not something that can happen overnight. Raaton raat kuch nahi hota. You have to work on yourself right from the day and right from now, and start understanding yourself, start exploring the options, and start creating your personal brand from day zero, that is today. That is going to be beneficial for all of you. But this is something that I really give importance to, and the reason why I've kept this in the end of the slide is because it is so important. This is the last slide for this session, and this is the most important slide of the entire session, and I want all of you to pay ears to this. Reason being that most of us nowadays have this this thing in our mind that we have to just basically clear our degree, we have to just basically accomplish the goals that we have set in these 4 years and just move on in life, right? That is all from a professional aspect. You will be anyhow doing that. Whatever is determined to reach you will never miss you, and whatever is determined to miss you will never reach you, right? You have to understand that and accept that, because that is a fact of life. You cannot say no, you cannot say yes. That is something that is going to happen and will eventually happen, and you cannot do anything about it. But what you can do about something, what you can do something about right now, is something that you have in your hands right now, that is your present, right? And that comes to that takes me to the slide of personal branding in real life, right? Basically, there are 4 things in real life personal branding that I can think of, and I urge everyone I meet on this topic to actually imply in their life. Firstly, that is time management. Why time management is important is because it's not like if you're thinking that if I'm telling you all of these things, I'm perfect in that. No, even I'm a human, I can make mistakes. I do not want to be perfect, because once you think that you are perfect, once you think that you have attained so and so position, once you think you have succeeded in so and so thing, that is when your growth will start to fall, right? Your journey of learning, your journey of experiences is an everlasting journey. it can never ever stop, right? Once you get that in your mind that I'm done, then you're actually done. You will not, you know, move ahead in your growth chart, and instead you'll be instead your goal will be depreciating because you will be going down in your growth chart. So basically, in simple words, nobody can be perfect, but you can come as close to as perfection as possible. That can be done basically by implying many values in your life, and that is called as personal branding in real life. So it's okay if you're not perfect, it's okay if you're not, really good at something, but the fact that you're trying to do something really speaks ton of about it. So the first thing, time management. Now you are in your student life basically, and you have a lot to do, and basically you will be getting many more experiences as you progress in your life. You will be getting more responsibilities, but you will be having the same amount of time that you had previously. You are having 24 hours in your life, I'm having 24 hours in my life, but you may have some lesser responsibilities, I may have some more responsibilities. But a person who is more aged than us, who is more elder than us, maybe he or she has more responsibilities than even me, but all of us have the same 24 hours in our life, but we have to complete all of those responsibilities in 24 hours, because that is life, that is what we have to do. So we need to understand what is the thing that is of most priority, what is the thing that I have to do firstly, and what is the thing that I have to do secondly. That will happen when you manage your time perfectly, or maybe manage your time in such a manner that you end up doing all of your responsibilities in the same 24 hours that all of us have. That is called as time management. Giving an example from your perspective, you all are in your student life, you all have your academics, you all most probably will be having exams, and you will also have your family responsibilities, and maybe some extra responsibilities that you might basically have. Not everyone, but most of you will have. So you have multiple things on your plate, but you have to eat all of those things. You do not know how to do that. Maybe you will be ending up by leaving few things here and there on your plate. That is not something that has to be done basically. For that, to basically accomplish all your daily goals, you need to come up with a timetable, right? Maybe you will be getting up at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever it is, or maybe 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, which is amazing. So whenever you are getting up in the morning, right from that time to the time that you're sleeping, maybe 9, maybe 10, maybe unfortunately 11 or 12 also. But you have to manage your time. So getting up at 6, sleeping at 9, there's around more than 12 hours. I think it's 15 hours, right? 15 hours of your day that you're awake, and you have to divide time limits in that based on whatever your responsibilities in that particular day are, and you have to follow that. There's a simple code that I follow that is that goes something like, plan out your work and work out your plan, right? So if you know what you have to do in your day, you will be planning it out very well, and you have to work out on that specific plan that you have planned out. That is called as time management. So once you complete the goal of managing time perfectly in your life, then you have achieved the first goal in building a great personal brand in real life. Secondly, this is somewhat similar to managing your time, that is called as systematic, right? For example, you have divided your time limits based on all the responsibilities that you have in your day, and you have divided some time limits for that, but you do not end up actually accomplishing those goals in the specific time limit that you have set. For example, let's say that I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, right, and I have around 1 hour that I've reserved for working on my academic goals, and then from 6 to 7 I have allotted 1 hour to spend with my family, all right, but I do not end up doing that, right? Is just an example, don't get it on your hearts. I am just giving an example for you to understand. So I have planned to spend my first 1 hour, that is 5 or 6, on academics, and the second 1 hour on my family time. However, I'm not able to do that. I might just get up at 5 o'clock and maybe complete my academic goals, and then I might just go to sleep, or maybe just scroll down on my phone or do any other thing but not give time to family. But in my timetable it is given for family, so I'm not being systematic, I'm not following the schedule, maybe for whatever reason, unless and until it is really valid, it is okay. But if it is not valid, then I'm not following my schedule. This is just a very basic example that I'm giving so that you can understand from your mindset, because that is what you're living right now in your age. But if you just get a habit of that, or maybe get habituated to not follow the timetable or do not follow the schedule, in your later life you'll be facing more and more problem. You might have a number of responsibilities, you might be into job, you might be into startups, you might be into families, you might be into various other things, but you cannot do all of those things because you're not following that the schedule right from this age. You're not into habit of following those schedules, so that is going to be very difficult for you in your later life. So you have to get into a habit of actually working out your plan from day one, that is you're working on your personal branding in real life. That is called a systematic way, or going by the schedule. Thirdly, let's go with communications. All right, communications is by far the most important thing in anything that you take, anything, maybe your employment, maybe your family, maybe your friend circles, maybe anything. Your communication is really important, because wherever you go in your life, you have to basically expand your network by communicating with people. Communication is really important because, see, you might be getting great ideas in your mind, right? I've already told that, but I'll just repeat it again, that a person who can think great ideas but cannot put them into words is waste, because it's not making of any value. Because you might think amazing things, but you're not able to express those ideas in front of people, then why and what are you even doing? So in order to express your ideas to the other people, in order to really have good bonding, in order to expand your network, you have to be very good in communication. And again, I'm not telling you to be perfect, because no one can be perfect, but at least you can be good, you can be something really better than others. That you can do, because that's in your hands to do or not. So you can be really good in communication if you start working on it from day one, that is today itself. Because from now on, that is your student life, maybe 3 years left, maybe 2 years left, or maybe 4 years left for you. If you start conversing properly in any language that you want, maybe English, preferably in English, but any other language as well, you will start enhancing your skills in that, and by the end of your engineering or by the end of your graduation, you'll be by far ahead of your other peers in terms of communication, and maybe you'll be getting more and more opportunities, right? So that is how you can also develop your personal brand in real life. Finally, when you are great in managing things, when you are great in managing time, and when you are great in putting your ideas into words, that is communication skills, then you will have a great personal brand as a person in real life. And once you have that, it will add up to your face value. What is your face value? Basically, it means that I've shown you the pictures of Gucci and Starbucks and Gary Vee initially of the session, but most of you, some of you couldn't identify that, but most of you could identify that. Why? Because those things, those companies, that person has established a personal brand, has established a face value for themselves, right? If I tell you that I have a bottle in my hand, you know that this bottle is of so and so company. I say that I have a phone, right? And I'll tell you the phone, I can show you the phone, you'll be getting then and there that yes, this phone is of so and so company, which is great company. And if I show you an image of some really great personality, say Will Smith, you'll know that yes, this person has established a great face value for himself. Why? Because they have worked on their personal brand right from day one, and they've actually done great in that. So That will only happen when you are really good in your real life, and that will eventually impact on your professional life as well. These both the things are interlinked, your real life and your professional life, because real life is something that you live every day, and your professional life is that you live 5 to 6 days in a week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. maybe, right? So if you are really good in a real life, that is your 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, then it will definitely have an impact on your professional life. And once you are great in both these aspects, then you can do wonders in your life. That is about personal branding in real life. So before, yeah, that brings us to the end of our session. That is session 1. And we have basically covered what personal branding is, why it is important, and how you can build a personal branding in a brief manner, right? Now I want all of you to work on two things that I've told you before in the second slide maybe. That is to understand what you are, and to basically come up with a genre and a particular group of people that can be benefiting from all of you. Before we move on, I want to know how many of you have already done that. And you can speak up on your opening up your mic, and also you can type on in the message box. This will give me an idea that should I continue with my session here, or maybe end the session over here and can take up the second session maybe some other day that is feasible for all of you. And we'll be discussing basically how to create a personal brand in the second session. Now let me hear answers from all of you. Hello. सब लोग सो गए शायद. Is it? Can I hear someone saying something? No, I mean, is there any doubts over here? Firstly, secondly, have you drafted those two questions? That is, what your personal brand is, and basically what your genre is, and secondly, what is your target audience? How many of you are ready with those answers? Because I've given you around a minute or more in the initial part of our session to write down those answers. So are you done with that or not? If you are done with that, then we can probably move on towards the second session. If you're not done with that, then we can end this session over here and can probably have the second session, which is personal branding on social media, some other day that you all will be free on. In fact, you can, alright, let's do one thing. How many of you want me to continue the second session now itself, and how many of you want to skip or maybe end the session over here and take the second session on some other day? You can type down in your chat box, or maybe tell by opening your mics. It's better if you open your mics because it will be much easier for me to get quick answers.
You can continue for the second session.
I got one for continuing session.
You can continue.
Well, I'd like to have the session today, but I'm having exam tomorrow, so it's a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay, fine. Ashfaq, you're from batch 1, right?
Batch 2.
Oh, sorry. Fine. Okay. Alright, I got 1-1. Who else?
We
You
can
can
continue some other day.
Okay, we can continue another. I got 2-2 again. Afraid, what were you saying?
You can continue some other day. I was
Great.
saying the same.
Great. So basically, you clearly get a majority over here. Now, I'll be sending you all the brochure for this book. That is the session 1 on your WhatsApp groups. But until we meet for the next session, I want all of you to understand what your personal brand is work out on your genre and work out on your target audience. If you have created your long term and short term goals, this will be a piece of cake for you because you already know what your genre is. You just have to come up with what kind of people you will be targeting towards, what kind of people will be directly benefiting from you all. I want all of you to work on these two questions, and if some of you have not yet done the assignments for the first module, that is goal setting, please do that and fill up the form that has come in your respective groups, so that I can also know what your goals are, so that I can try to basically help you out in achieving those goals and can understand if there is any problem that you are facing. And with that, let's end the session over here. Is there any doubts? Is there any queries that you want me to answer right now? You can speak up. We have around 3 more minutes before we end this session, because our session is from 3:30 to 4:30. Any more doubts? Any more questions?
I was not able to attend the first session, so I don't know what all happened in the first session about the goal.
Yeah, got it. Fine. I'll provide you with the either with the recording or maybe the slides for that, and you can help out with that basically. But yeah, it's okay. For now, for this session, is there any doubts?
No.
I could have shown you my chart, but that will be private. It's private, but yes, I do. I have a sheet of paper wherein I've written the time limits, that is when I wake up until when I sleep, and then I just write down what are my tasks for the day, and then I allot the time limits for all of those things. It's not for every day, because most of the days I do not get much time to work on my responsibilities, because I have to go to college, then work, then family. So whenever I get time, I write down all of the tasks that I have to do, and I'll be allotting them specific time limits for that. And there's this technique called as Pomodoro time technique, right? So you can get it online or anywhere. Basically, if you see on my screen over here, on the top right hand side, I don't know if I can show you that. I don't have it on this thing, but there's a extension or maybe a technique called as Pomodoro time management technique, wherein you will be working for a specific amount of time, then you'll be taking a break for a specific amount of time, then we'll be working for a specific amount of time. That is done because it's a scientific theory that you can only work for a specific time limit at a stretch. After that, your mind will be wandering or maybe not trying to work out on something, so you have to mandatorily take a break. So I follow that as well whenever I have to do something. So that is one more thing. Apart from that, it's good to have a timetable, but it's not something that I always do, because again, due to time limits and different issues.
Yes, we can do always. We can't do always.
What? I didn't catch you.
We can't go with the timetable always, right?
Right, correct. How do you figure out your personal brand? Okay. How do you figure out your personal brand is basically if you have worked out on your personal goals, long-term and short-term goals, you know that in your long-term goal, you know that after 5 to 10 years, whatever time limit you have set for your long-term goal, I have to basically get into so and so domain. I have to basically work in so and so field. I have to basically become so and so person, right? That has to be descriptive. That has to be very clear. It cannot be that I just want to become an IT engineer. It cannot be that, because there's various fields under the tree of IT. You can be a software tester, you can be a software developer, you can be a software engineer, you can be a robotics engineer, you can be an AI ML engineer, anything. You have to be very clear about that. For example, you have decided for yourself to become say a software developer, right? and basically you have to get into software industry, right? I have answered the two questions that I've told you to come up with in the second slide, right? Yeah, this slide. Firstly, who are you means that I'll become a software developer after 5 to 10 years. That is firstly, and my genre will be software industry, right? Because I'm a software developer, right? Secondly, any person who is inclined towards the software field, or maybe is inclined towards development or anything that's related to that, can be my target audience, can be the people who can benefit from me directly, right? So these two are the answers to the questions. Now from this you can understand what your personal brand is. That is one example. It does not necessarily be a professional a professional personal brand. It can also be something like speaker, a graphic designer, or an artist, a painter, a biker, anything that you actually think is your long-term goal, right? If you remember in your long-term goal session, I've told you that your long-term goal cannot be your any normal hobby that you just want to do out of your passion. Your long-term goal has to be so good that it will basically keep you happy for your rest of your life. It can be a way to earn in your rest of your life. It can take care of you and your family in your rest of your life. Something that can basically help you in leading a dignified life in your future. That can be a long-term goal, right? Right. So that will be a long-term goal. And once you are really understanding that yes, and you're satisfied about your long-term goal, then you can understand that yes, whatever is my long-term goal is basically something related, something near or far my personal brand, because that is my long-term goal, and I will eventually have to venture into that industry, and that will be my personal brand. That I will be again a software developer, a graphic designer, a biker, a mountaineer, anything that can give you a dignified life. So that will be a personal brand. And that is the only reason why I told all of you that if you have created your long-term and short-term goals, then it will be very easy to understand what your personal brand is. So everything over here is linked together, and that is also the reason why I gave all of you 7 days to work on your goals. Anyways, it's never too late. Once you understand what your goals are, then you can just understand what your personal branding is very easily. I hope I've answered your question. Should we work according to our priorities or according to our products? I don't think that is related to this. Firstly, is it related to personal branding that you're asking, or is it in a general perspective that you're asking? Farid, I don't think so, because see, you're telling me that you're asking me that should you work according to your priorities or the urgency. Then you tell me that the task is given to you. First and foremost, in your personal brand, in your goals, nobody can give you a task, nobody can order you to do something, right? Get that thing clear first. But if you're asking in a general perspective, then I think that makes sense, because if you're working under someone or if you're working with someone, then they might tell you that these are the responsibilities, these are your goals that you have to do, and this particular task is of so and so importance, and this task is of so and so importance. In that situation, you can give the priority to the task that has the utmost priority. That is urgency. Priority and urgency means the same. So when you know that this ABC thing is of the most priority, is of the most urgent, then you have to do that first thing. But in terms of in terms of time management, then you have to understand that whatever your task is, you have two tasks, ABC and XYZ, and then you know that the urgency of this task is so and so, and the urgency of this task is so and so, but this priority is maybe lesser than the other, then you have to obviously give the priority to the task that is most urgent. But it cannot always go like that. You have to sometimes compromise on some things because there will be other priorities as well. Because something, alright, let me just make you understand that in the most simple format. As I said, priorities and urgency are the same. I don't think there's any difference between the word priority and urgency. So if you know that, say, ABC thing is of the most urgent, then go ahead and do that. Give it the most priority, give it the first priority, and then the other task will be following the chart, and then go on from top to bottom by working on the goals that is your most priority. Did I answer your question? I myself am confused after reading this question. Okay, I really hope, because even I'm confused. Sorry. Yes. Alright, we are done with our session time. Is there any more questions? Is there anything else that anyone else wants to add up?
Jazakallah khair.
Alright, I'll be providing you all the, I forgot the word. Yeah, I'll be providing all the handbook for this session in your WhatsApp groups. Go read it and complete your assignments, and give me a suitable time when we can get back to session 2. Until then, thank you all for joining. It's been a wonderful session to be part of, and I hope that you all work on your assignments, and we'll be seeing you in the session 2. Until then, take care, have a safe day ahead, and have a great rest of the day. All the very best. Assalamu alaikum.